Hey everybody, this is Ahmed here with a Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds video. What I'm going to do in this video basically is describe the recommended dungeon order that I want everybody to go through. This is going to be based on my personal experience. As you can see, this is my finished file with everything. This is the second playthrough, Hero mode. I finished everything in the Hero mode basically. Unfortunately, I can't give live footage because this is a finished file, obviously. And the other thing is we're minimizing spoilers here if we're going through it this way. So basically what I mean by recommended dungeon order is I want to prioritize two things basically when you're playing in regular mode and an additional feature with hero mode. The two main features that you want to go through in terms of recommended dungeon order is ease of exploration and seamless gameplay, because basically there's in the Link Between Worlds, it gives you the freedom of choosing any dungeons after you finish the one here, which is the first dungeon here. You have basically a freedom of choosing whatever order you want in Hyrule and in Lorule. So and the additional option that you want to go with in hero mode is basically you have to be prioritize being minimizing damage and maximizing damage to yourself and maximizing the damage to your enemies. So that's what you have to do in hero mode, but in regular mode that's not big of a priority because it's sort of easy, so you don't need to do that. So there's going to be a slight difference, but not that much. So basically with the Light World or Hyrule, the first dungeon you want to go through is this one, the House of Gales, after you finish, as soon as you finish the first dungeon here. The reason of that is basically because it's nearer and it's an easier dungeon compared to the one over at Death Mountain here, which is, let me show you the location, which is the Tower of Hera. It's a really long ride and a really steep mountain to go through. It's far away, so it's easier to finish this dungeon and go through that basically. Obviously, before you want to do any dungeons after you finish this one, you have to go to 3 areas. So you could, like I said, maximize exploration, make the features available to you as soon as possible. So the 3 areas you want to go through is here. There's an area here, basically in this area of the map, next to the Lost Woods, that will give you the what do you call it? The Titan's Mitt, which you could carry rocks with. And the other area you want to go through is there's one next to the witch's house is Zora's Waterfall, because you want to get the flippers from here. It's next to the witch's house. And the third area is Cocorico Village. Cocorico Village, basically you're going to find that guy and get the Pegasus boots. So these 3 items are necessary to get before going through any dungeons after you finish the first one. Here is basically Zora's Waterfall in this area. And an additional bonus for people who are playing hero mode is you want to explore Cocorico Village as soon as you get your sword and before you go to the first dungeon. The reason so is you could get the bottle and get the bug catching net. These are really vital items in hero mode because you're going to be dying often, because you know these small green enemies, they take off 2 hearts, so you could be killed in 1 or 2 hits. So basically the bottle is from this guy and the bug catching net you'll find here. So these are really necessary so you could get the fairy and have an additional life basically in hero mode. This is not really necessary in the regular mode, but you're going to do it anyway because you're going to explore Cocorico Village, and here's that guy you get from the Pegasus boots. So you get these 3 items and maximize exploration, so you could go anywhere you want. Mostly, like I say, 70 to 80% of Hyrule is going to be unlockable if you get these 3 items. Like I said, in Zora's Waterfall, Cocorico Village, and this area here, you'll find the Titan's Mitt. So yeah, like I said, I prefer that you go to the House of Gales first because it's nearer and it's easier to beat. Especially in hero mode, you don't want to go here because there's a lot of chances to get hit by going through Death Mountain. So you don't want to die much, basically. So this is my Hyrule recommendations. Really quick, really easy. And here's where we get to the complicated part, the Dark World, or we could say Lorule. It's not called the Dark World in this game, but I have a link to the past terminology in my mind, obviously. So yeah, with Lorule, it's really tricky because you got, it's 7 dungeons, if I'm not mistaken. And this is where you really need to focus on getting the right order, basically. Yeah, here's the, like I said, this is my hero mode gameplay, so I finished everything. So yeah, the 7 dungeons are going to be in this area. Obviously there are no X's, unfortunately, but I could just pinpoint the obvious areas that you want to go to. So yeah, first thing you want to do in Low Rule is finish this dungeon, the one in the Thieves' Hideout, Thieves' Town. The reason why is basically Thieves' Town will give you 2 things that are really important for your dungeon, for your gameplay. I said I want to correct myself, slightly correct myself. Most of the dungeons, like 6 out of 7, you could explore in any order. There is only one dungeon that you can't go to unless you get a very specific item, and that's why I'm telling you guys you have to finish Thieves' Town, because Thieves' Town will give you 2 items. One is one of the first Master Ore accessories, which is basically will power up your Master Sword. And you need 2 per power up. So there are 2 powered up, the Tempered Sword and the Golden Sword. To get the Tempered Sword you need 2 ores, and to get the Golden Sword you need another 2 ores. So there are 4 ores overall basically in Low Rule. So yeah, so you're gonna get the first Master Ore, and the more important item is the Sand Rod. Actually is going to be given to you in Thieves' Town, which is where we're exploring right now. So yeah, this is gonna attach ourselves basically to going to the next dungeon, which is this one. This is the desert area, or the desert area in the High Rule, and it's actually Misery Mire in Low Rule. You cannot explore this area unless you have the Sand Rod, and to get the Sand Rod you have to finish Thieves' Town. The reason why you want to as soon as possible finish Misery Mire, because this will further open up exploration for you in Low Rule. Low Rule has a lot of areas in which you need to have the upgraded version of the Titan's Mitt, and to get that item you have to finish the dungeon in Misery Mire or the Sand Dungeon in High Rule. There's a very interesting connection here. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a very nice interconnectivity between these 2 dungeons here. Anyway, you want to finish this area next. This is the second dungeon that you should finish, because as soon as you get the Titan's Mitt you could basically explore wherever you want, and it's very seamless. If you leave this dungeon to the last to leave dungeon as a last resort, I don't really recommend it, because when you're exploring a Low Rule you're gonna constantly find areas in which you need to use the Titan's Mitt. You don't want to keep using this you don't want to keep backtracking. You don't want to minimize backtracking. In my recommended order basically is going to be minimizing backtracking. So yeah, one special exception here is that I want to talk about is Swamp Palace. Swamp Palace is a dungeon that you don't need to do rush in regular mode, because the Swamp Dungeon's main item is the blue vest, which cuts down damage down to half, and you don't really need that in your regular playthrough, because like I said, the game is easy and you're gonna get big hearts constantly. However, in hero mode I highly recommend that the first dungeon, before even these 2, like I said, Thieves' Hideout and Misery Mire, the first dungeon you need to go through is Swamp Palace, simply because you're gonna get the blue vest, and this will minimize damages, and this will make your playthrough slightly easier in hero mode. Like I said, you get triple damage by enemies. You could die in an instant in hero mode, especially from the bosses. So you want to finish this dungeon first in hero mode, but in regular mode you could leave it towards the end. You don't really need to rush this. As soon as you finish Misery Mire, you could go to this area, the graveyard area. Basically the graveyard area is going to give you access to the second Master Ore. This is not a dungeon. This will just give you access to the second Master Ore. Here, like I said, this was the examples I'm telling you. The Titan's Mitt, the upgraded version. You could only get that from Misery Mire or the Sand Dungeon. So yeah, you want to go here. This is where the area you're going to get the Master Ore here. And you need to do that, you need to unlock the Titan's Mitt from the second dungeon. Like I said, it's all related. So you're gonna go here as soon as you can and get the second Master Ore and upgrade your Master Sword to the Tempered Sword. And this will make your playthrough, like I said, seamless, slightly easier, hassle-free. And after that, there's the dungeon that you need to go through is, I recommend that you want to upgrade your sword as soon as possible. So there are 2 dungeons that you can do so in order to upgrade to the 4th level, which is the golden sword. These are the 2 areas: Lost Woods, or what I forgot. Skull Woods, actually, in Lower Rule, and Dark Palace. So you could go to one of these dungeons in any order, whatever you choose. They're both interesting. They're both around the same difficulty. So pick whatever you want. This area or this one. Swamp Palace is Skull Woods is slightly easier to get through because you're likely going to be exploring this area as soon as you get into Lower Rule. So you're gonna get access to Skull Woods easily. This is slightly more difficult to get to. So yeah, one of these 2 dungeons as the 3rd and the 4th dungeons in your playthrough, and then you're gonna get your golden sword really early on. So we finished 4 dungeons so far, and the 5th if you're counting the Swamp Palace for the hero mode. Next up, this is really another thing that goes by in your choice, whatever you want. You could either go here to the Ice Ruins or either go here to Turtle Rock. Both these areas give you slightly unnecessary items, I could say. One here is the Hylian Shield, and here is an upgraded version of your stamina bar. In hero mode, obviously you're going to be preferring Turtle Rock because of the Hylian Shield. It blocks a lot of hits, and you could easily block bosses and whatnot. So this is a nice place to go through first if you want. And another thing is, it's easier to get to Turtle Rock compared to Ice Ruins. Ice Ruins is a really tough dungeon to get through, especially in hero mode. It's like Death Mountain basically, it's like Death Mountain when you're talking in Hyrule. So yeah. You might want to tackle Ice Ruins first, because on the way you're going to be getting to the Treacherous Tower, which is this area here. This tower basically gives you a piece of heart and some upgraded items, secret items, upgraded version of your bug catching net, and an upgraded version of your lamp, which is here. These are the 2, the super lamp and the super net, which basically are like joke items, you could say. The super lamp attacks, you could attack while using them, and the bug catching net will deflect hits and attack enemies in one hit. Let me show it to you here. So yeah, I guess that's it with my dungeon order. And like I said, what I'm prioritizing here is, I just want to show the example of the super net. He could beat this guy really easily, like 4 hits or something of that sort. So yeah, what you're prioritizing basically is seamless exploration, minimizing backtracking, and as a bonus for the hero mode, you want to maximize damage to enemies and minimize damage to yourself. So yeah, to recap, basically you're gonna attack Thieves' Towns first to get the Sand Rod and the Master Ore. Go to Misery Mire, or the Sand Dungeon, to get the Titan's Mitt, in order to get the second version of the Master Ore, which is in the graveyard, which is here. And after that, you're gonna be you wanna, as soon as possible, upgrade your Master Sword to the Golden Sword, which is done from these 2 dungeons here, the Dark Palace and the Skullwoods. So tackle these as the next dungeon. These Turtle Rock and Ice Ruins, again, your choice, whatever you choose. Preferable Turtle Rock, because it's easier and you get a more useful item here, which is Hylian Shield. And finally, for Swamp Palace, this is the exception. You could leave it as the last dungeon in your regular playthrough, or you could leave it in the hero mode, tackle it as your first dungeon, since it will give you the what do you call it, the blue mail, or the blue armor basically. So yeah, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you found this video informative. Not a lot of gameplay in this video, but I just wanted to point out the dungeon order trying not to spoil as much as I can. Obviously there's a lot of spoilers here, yeah, but not as much, because you're not getting a lot of visual feedback in terms of what to get and what to do. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed, and like, comment, subscribe if you want any further videos, gameplay with A Link Between Worlds, whatever you guys want. Just inform me in the comments. And like I said, it's really important to get that Titan's Mitt here as soon as you can, because you want to get these Mamais, or the small octopuses, and these are done by exploring as much as you can. and you can't explore unless you have the Titan's Myth. So cool stuff. I rambled too much here, but again, hope you've enjoyed, and catch you later with another video. Peace out.